Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Radio Maria Canada. Today we have a special broadcast brought to you by the National Director of Aid to the Church in Need. Our guest this morning is Marie-Claude Lalonde, who is the National Director of Aid to the Church in Need. And let me tell you, my dear friends, this report that we just saw, I have just perused. I haven't gone through it intensely, but it is quite intense and quite disturbing to read about the number and situations of persecuted Christians around the world. So we are here in Canada, we are so blessed that we can go into our churches and have partake in Mass and in the Eucharist, uh, give our Bibles to our friends and talk freely about our faith. But it isn't so like that, is it, Marie-Claude?
No, it's not the case
Right.
everywhere. In certain countries, just the fact of owning a Bible can make you go to prison, to jail, because you own a Bible. That's the case in North Korea, which is a country with severe violations.
Friends, here's the interview that I have done previously with Marie-Claude Lalonde before, but today is a report, and also it's an event that's coming up on Wednesday. I know November 19th, I do believe. Yes, Wednesday, November 19th, and it's called Red Wednesday. And of course, Marie-Claude, we're going to hand it over to you. And first of all, what is Red Wednesday?
Yes, Red Wednesday is a day where we take the time to pray for persecuted Christians, for those who have lost their lives, but for those also who are persecuted today, and there are many. And we take the time to pray with them, for them. And in Toronto, there will be a Mass on the 19th at 5:30 at St. Michael's Cathedral, and we will underline the situation of persecuted Christians around the world during that celebration.
Absolutely. And that, if you've ever been to St. Michael's Cathedral, absolutely a beautiful church. And of course, I think our Archbishop Cardinal Frank Leo is going to be presiding. Am I correct?
Not this year, unfortunately, he could not join, but it's going to be Bishop Boissonneau
Oh, that's
who's going to celebrate.
That's right. We've had Bishop Boissanoa at our church as well during for the children who were receiving confirmation.
Mhm.
So let's begin. So we now realize that we are all becoming acutely aware of the number of persecuted Christians and, of course, the injustice and suffering by the Christians around the world. But ACN, Aid to the Church in Need, also is concerned with the poor and oppressed, right? But also to stand up for our faith, right? To stand up for our faith for religious freedom.
Well, exactly. That report is not specifically about Christians. It is a Christian point of view on the problem, but we also acknowledge that other faith, other minorities of faith are persecuted around the world. And we can talk about the Hindus, we can talk about the Muslims, the Jews. Most of the time, everybody is persecuted. If it's not in one place, it's another place, but it's not something that is specific to Christians.
Now, can you tell us what is authoritarianism?
That's what we call actually we define as being a government which is authoritarian and wants to decide of everything, and most of the time they do have violations or restrictions on religious freedom. Some governments see, for instance, the Catholic Church, or it could be any other church, but as a counterpower, they fear the church and therefore they limit the activities of the church.
Thank you. And of course, we are referring to the report which I happen to see, as I said before, it's a 78 page, and I've been informed by Marie Claude that's just the executive. The other one, the actual report, is over 300 pages, correct?
It is, and it's available on the web.
Okay, that's good to know. And you must take time when you read it. It's quite informative, and it's quite specific in telling you exactly what's happening around the world in each country and what exactly are the problems that are occurring. I also wanted to preface this broadcast also to dedicate this broadcast to the memory of Attilio Tamburini, who passed away in 2022. He was the former director of Aid to the Church in Need in Italy and founder of the Religious Freedom in the World report in 1999. And of course, Aid to the Church in Need has been in the forefront of the past 25 years defending religious freedom. So now let's just quickly talk about the violations that are occurring.
Mhm. Well, there are different types of violations, but maybe we can start by indicating that we found 62 countries where there is important violations of religious freedom. So 62 countries, it represents 65% of the world population. So, where there are problems with religious freedom, we found out that in 24 of these countries, it's persecution, 38 discrimination, but it's more than 5 billion people affected by that. And one of our finding also is if religious freedom is not respected, well, most of the time, other human rights are not respected. It's important to note that people often see religious freedom as a secondary right, but if you go to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, you will see that the article talking about religious freedom also talks about the freedom of thought and conscience. Because if you lose one, most probably you lose the other. So that's important to know that. And maybe a little trick for the auditors is that just think about the journalists. In most of the countries where journalists have a difficult time, well, religion is also an issue. Most of the time, people say, I don't know where there are problems, but most of the time, you know where there are problems with journalists, and most probably religious freedom is also a problem there. Yeah.
Well, for everyone who's listening to this and say, well, that's too bad, I'm going to play the opposite, sort of the negative. But for people who are listening to this broadcast and maybe watching it on YouTube and say, well, yeah, okay, so there's problems around the world where, there's problems. So, why should I care? Why does that have, what should that have anything to do with me? I mean, I live in Canada. I'm not living in, let's say, for example, Maldives, where I saw in the report that a beautiful place, Maldives, expensive holiday to go there. It's apparently like it's just I don't want to say a piece of heaven, but it's absolutely beautiful. And here, this is a place where you can't even bring your Bible and you can't share it with others. So why do I really care about that, do you think?
Mhm.
So why should I care?
Well, I think everybody should care because, as I said, when you don't have religious freedom, other rights are also problematic or violated. So that's one aspect of it. And the second aspect, I would say, is it can happen here. It can happen anywhere. So maybe today it's not problematic, but in 10 years, we don't know. And that's a good reason to keep ourselves informed of that type of problem.
Marie Claude, there is Sharia law happening actually in Canada in some places. And so, can you maybe expand on the dangers of that and what exactly it should we
I
avoid?
would need to have more information really to have an opinion, to know exactly when and how this is applied. I can speak for countries, uh, not Canada, but for countries abroad, and most of the time it is used in family matters. For instance, if you get divorced, what happens with the kids? Someone dies, what happens with the money, the kids, and all this? And it's creating problems, injustices towards women most of the time. And that's generally problematic because it doesn't admit that you can be uh, from another faith. And it is the Muslim way of seeing things. So for Christians, for example, most of the time it is problematic. But I mean, it's not everywhere, and I think we should not be in panic mode because of it. We have to understand it better, to come to a better understanding. And for Canada, unfortunately, I don't have enough information.
All right, fair enough. I kind of put you on the spot. I'm sorry, Marie Claude. Now,
That's okay.
one of the things I did read in the report was the problem of AI. And
Yes, yes. It may seem strange to put AI as a problem in a report like that, but AI can be used to spread false information about people from a particular faith. It can be used to recruit people. Um, so it is something we have to be mindful of and something we have to keep on our radar because this could be problematic. At the moment, it's not a huge thing, but it could become very quickly a huge problem because if I spread false information about Hindus, well, chances are that at one given point something will happen and the Hindus will be automatically blamed, for instance. So that's why we have to be careful with not only AI, but social media in general.
hmm. Now let's talk about Red Wednesday. Why is it called Red Wednesday? And tell us, what is Red Wednesday all about?
Yes. Red Wednesday, we chose the color red to represent the martyrs. That's why it is the Red Wednesday. In fact, it's a red week. The whole week has events. In Canada, it tends to be more concentrated around the Wednesday. And as I said, it's a moment we want to take to pray for our brothers and sisters who don't have the chance and the freedom that we have. Um, and we want to underline their situations. So there's a part which is a part of information, and this is exactly what we're doing, talking about religious freedom and religious persecution. And the other aspect of it is solidarity. So there is a mass in Toronto, another one in Montreal that will be televised on Salt and Light Television. There is a mass at Daily Mass TV as well that will be broadcasted. But other than that, we have more than 40 activities around Canada. So some people will have a moment of prayers. Some people will have a rosary for the persecuted. And some will hold vigils, testimonies. So we invite everybody to participate in their with what they can do in their own parish or even group. So what they can do to underline the Red Wednesday. We encourage people to wear red. And I see you're wearing red today. And And we want to make the problem visible. We also light up buildings in red in different regions. You will see the cathedral in Toronto will be lit in red, and some other interesting churches will do that around the country. And what we want to see is people, why is the church in red? And then it's the occasion to have a conversation with these people around the difficulties of Christians. So all kinds of activities all around Canada, and everybody is welcome to participate and to create their activities.
Right. So everyone who's listening, if you belong to the CWL or the Knights of Columbus, talk to your parish priest. Maybe you can do something. Maybe they can have a special mass or a special prayer offered up for the those Christians around the world who are being persecuted. We here in Canada, and I'm sure in the United States too, we are so blessed. We don't realize just how fortunate we are. We can't imagine being in mass and listening to Father speak and somebody coming with a gun and just gunning down a bunch Catholics or everywhere. We are so blessed that we live in a country that we can exercise our faith freely. As
Mm,
much as I know there are incidents around the Canada and the US, but we have so much more freedom when you look at what's happening in these other countries, and they're fleeing their countries. They're being persecuted. They've been evacuated. They've been leaving their homes. They've got nothing but the clothes on their back. Their
yeah.
children are out of the schools. They're being taken away from. Life is not normal. It's just so frightening, and it's so sad, right?
It is very sad, and that's why I think we need to show our solidarity. And I always give an example. A friend of mine who is a priest in Iraq, which is not the best place to be. It's quite calm at the moment, but we know that at some point it was very difficult. And each time I would talk to him and I would say, oh, yes, with my prayer group, we prayed for Iraq and for your people. So the situation gets better. And you should have seen the smile on his face. They need our prayers and our solidarity because when they are stuck in difficult situations, sometimes they think that the rest of the world has forgotten about them. So it's important to make them visible and to be their voice.
Absolutely. I have close friends who are from Lebanon who are in our church and who experienced firsthand war and the bombs and fleeing from their homes. And one of them actually saw her relatives being shot and killed right in
Mm,
front of them. So, this whole thing of coming to Canada, and they were so fearful when they came to Canada. I mean, they were so traumatized
yeah.
for so long. I mean, it's not like as if they came to Canada and life was then normal. It was hard for them, I'm sure they all suffered through post-traumatic stress disorder, coming to a country that they could actually be free. And
Yeah, it happens.
we're so blessed. And of course, the timing is, with Remembrance Day just around the corner, to consider why we attend Remembrance Day, why do we wear a poppy, why all these things. And then you talk about religious freedom. Well, that's just part of it, right? Freedom to, it's a human right, right?
It is. It is a human right. And you talked about war. Sometimes war is it is what fuels religious discrimination or religious persecution. And what we have seen is minorities are often more affected in certain area. And yes, now it's a huge, huge, huge a reason for people being displaced. So religion as a casualty of war, we have to see it like that a little bit. And yeah, so we never thought we would say that, but that's what's happening in certain regions.
Now, dare I ask you, and I'm going to put you on the spot, poor thing, but is there any good news in all of this? Like, has there been some wonderful success stories that we can walk away with instead of, we real now, I think everyone has got a good idea of what's happening and in terms of the persecution that exists, and it has existed for a long time, but are there success stories out there?
Well, I would say it seems to be a bit unbelievable, but when you visit people in these countries, you should see the strength of their faith. And somehow we can see that as a positive outcome. We have nothing to fear here, and sometimes, faith is secondary. If I have time, if for them it is the most important thing. It's like it's in their DNA, and they evangelize me when I meet with them. So I think this is a positive aspect. The positive aspect also is we can learn from them because of that strength that they have in their faith. We can learn from them. So this is also positive. And I have to say that in the last 2 years, it got better in Kazakhstan and Sri Lanka. So things have improved. Not perfect, not total freedom, but things have improved over the past years.
Yes,
So we have to be thankful for that.
absolutely. We have to, our brothers and sisters around the world, we are all made in the likeness of God. God made us all. And whether we're yellow, black, white, doesn't matter. We have to realize that in the image of Christ, we are all the same. We are all children of God. And we have a responsibility as a Christian. We're going to talk about evangelization and reaching out and just spreading the gospel. Well, this Red Wednesday, November 19th, is the perfect day in your parish, in your community, in your family. Make them aware of what it is. And you can find all this amazing, wonderful suggestions brought out by ACN. And the website is acn.org.
It's acn-canada.org. Or if you want to learn specifically about the Red Wednesday, just Google ACN Canada and Red Wednesday together, and you will find our page quite rapidly.
Right. And if this broadcast has touched your heart, my friends, and you feel that, you would like to help out, I'm sure that Marie Claude can put you in touch with those that would be willing to have you as volunteers. I'm sure you wouldn't turn away some volunteers, would you, Marie Claude?
No, exactly. We have volunteers in Montreal and Toronto where we have offices, and they are precious to our mission, and they're part of the family. We see our volunteers like members of our family. And yes, volunteer work is always welcome.
Absolutely. And not long ago, when I did interview the last time, we talked about the rosary and about the children praying the rosary on that particular day. And it just touched my heart because I love children. Being a retired teacher, you gotta love kids if you're going to teach. You're in the wrong job if you don't like kids. But I haven't had a chance. I have an aging mother, and that has consumed my life big time.
Of
So
course.
we are quite busy with her, which is fine. I have no problem, but it just leaves me very little other time to do anything because I really wanted to be involved with ACN. It's just a fantastic organization, and many times, my friends, when you're at Mass and you come across your envelopes and your tithing, you'll see aids to the church. Now you'll know exactly what that envelope represents. Marie-Claude Lalonde, National Director of ACN, will tell you that no funding would ever be wasted that are used to send out information and make people aware and give them strength, give them encouragement, give them support. Uh, because these are, it just seems, is it more volatile these days, do you think, Marie Claude, or it's always been?
No, I think it's more volatile at the moment. Situations can change very rapidly. But it's something that I've seen building up over the two past decades. I would say more and more countries fell into that pattern of violating religious freedom. So it's an evolving situation. But unfortunately, most of the time, we add countries to our list. And at the moment, we have 24 countries that are not in the severe violations of religious freedom, but we are looking at what's happening over there because we think they're heading there.
Yeah.
So it explains a little bit the situation. It's more and more severe year after year.
And really, can we even find them accountable? Can any justice be brought to these people who are doing these violations and committing these injustices?
Sometimes yes, most of the time I would say no. And that's the big difference. In a country where there are severe violations of human rights and of religious freedom, if something happens to you, you can't do anything. You will go see the police. They won't even take your report or your testimony. You can't go to court because they don't listen to that type of cases. In a country like ours, if something happens, we can go to certain groups who are doing advocacy on human rights. You can go to court. We have solutions. We can have hold people accountable. But in these countries where there are severe violations, this is gone most of the time. This is gone.
Do you have anything that you would like to add or make a point before we end our broadcast today?
Well, maybe what I would say is your prayers are important. Your solidarity is important. You can help. You can go to our website, make donations because we do help these people as much as we can because sometimes the situations are so difficult that it's difficult to send help there, but we try to help and be in solidarity, talk about it. Often people don't even think that there is still religious persecution in 2025, but yes, there is massive religious freedoms violation. So talk about it. That's also something that anybody can do. Yeah.
So, my friends, Wednesday, November 19th is called Red Wednesday. Wear red, pray your rosary, get together with your friends, talk about it, and pray the rosary. And if you can, do all the decades of the rosary and offer it up for all the precious souls who are suffering today around the world, men, women, and especially children who've lost their livelihood and their childhood is being wrapped up in the darkness and the evil that we see in the world. We know that when we pray the rosary, we know that we are stabbing the evil one right to its core, hates the rosary, all the more reason why to pray it. And remember, talk to your CWL, your Knights of Columbus, and with your family, and have a blessed Wednesday, Red Wednesday, November 19th. And if you can, and if you live in the Toronto area or just outside, maybe you guys can all carpool and go out and go to St. Michael's Cathedral, and Bishop Boissonneau will be there presiding. And I'm sure it will be a beautiful and memorable Mass. Marie Claude, it's always a pleasure having you. I've enjoyed
Thank you.
being with you so much, and the organization is so dynamic. I mean, if you want to talk about fire in your heart, I don't think there's more fire in anyone's heart than the ACN's heart, because you are so passionate and you just bring out that passion in all of us, and that we need to, we owe it to each other. We have a responsibility to care for our brothers and sisters, my friends. We have to be caring for everyone, and we can do it in very, doesn't have to be big. Just go to the ACN website, and there's plenty that you can see. Offer up a mass if you'd like. That would be beautiful. Offering up
Yes.
masses is a wonderful way to help the individuals and families who are suffering today worldwide. So thank you, Marie-Claude Lalonde, National Director of ACN. It's been a pleasure. I feel so privileged to be with you, and I'm so happy that you brought forward the report, and also Red Wednesday, that we will definitely be doing something in our family, and I'm going to definitely bring it into the attention of RCWL and Knights of Columbus today. So
Thank you so much.
thank you. God bless you, and continued success and strength to do what you've been doing. Your plate is more than full, I would say.
Thank you.
And she's still smiling.
Of course. Of
God
course.
bless you. Thank you again, everyone. Thanks for joining in today. Our guest was Marie-Claude Lalonde, the National Director of Aid to the Church in Need. God bless, and thank you again for joining us. Have a blessed day.